The Peugeot 106 Rally is back out in Belgium this weekend and it has a fresh new look. As usual, Scott Barnes is behind the wheel but has a different co-driver jumping in this weekend. This weekend we're taking on the ORC Canal Rally, based in Oostrozebeke. An excellent compact event which sees 13 stages covering 97 kilometres, a total of around 205 kilometres including road sections. Scott and I have done a few events together in the past, but it's been over a year since I was in the silly seat. He tried co-driving for me once, but that didn't go well. Scott will be looking for redemption this weekend, after retiring on last year's event whilst running inside the top 20. Scott and I are seated at car 29, out of a total of 100 entries. Let's see how we get on for round 2 of the Flanders International Rally Challenge. We hope you enjoy coming along for the ride.
So what have we done between Salamander and ORC? Well, nothing. The car was really good. We had very little issues, so we decided to not mess with a good recipe. Apart from a little bit of service and spanner check, we decided that this was perhaps the right time to concentrate on putting some new stickers on the car and making it look slightly different rather than trying to make it go faster. So let's hope that this weekend we can have a good run and not have any issues. Last time me and Bill sat together was Salamander last year and we got on really well. We spend a lot of time together and we know how each other works. 2 drivers in the car can often not lead to good things, but I think we really work. It's a different perspective having Bill sat in the car, and it's one that I enjoy. So yeah, here's to a good event. So we're all loaded up ready for ORC Rally. Hopefully the sun stays with us, but I think we're forecast a bit of rain. See you later. Saturday morning we left for Recce. The service area is a bit of a hub of activity. There's a marquee with a bar in, which is right next to the podium, the start ramp. A bit of a party going on, food vans and trying to squeeze through the crowds and stuff, which is like one of the bits that I love about it, is just like all the people that are there, and it's really accessible for everybody to see the event. It's free to access and whatever, so it's a good place to be. We were just off the edge of basically where the party tent was and felt really involved with the whole thing. The stages had all changed from last year, so we had to create new notes from scratch, a bit of work on Google Maps and what have you to create something before we'd started, but there was a lot of changes to be made during the Recce. We did 3 passes through all the stages. By the end of the day we were happy with like the notes that we made. Halfway through the day we stopped wrecking for scrutineering. This seemed to take forever. Every turbo car was having their restrictors checked, so the queue just didn't seem to move. We just sat there in the rain at this point inside the car, just going like, what's going on? By the time we got to our turn to scrutineer, the car was like in the bay for about 3 minutes, like quick look over, super happy with everything. Everything was in order and we moved on through. The whole day seemed to stop at that point, and then trying to get back into it's a bit tricky. And you're forever looking at the clock thinking we're running out of time to like get the things that we want done and what have you, but it worked out in the end. Sunday morning it was soaking wet. It had sort of eased off on our way to the event. When we arrived, it was just spitting. It wasn't too wet. It was in the middle of, like, do you run soft and just sort of deal with the damp, or do you go onto a wet but potentially trash a set of tyres? And then with about half an hour to go, it really started raining, and it made the decision just simple. It was like, yeah, okay, we need the wets on, so on with the set of wets. Knew that that was the right decision to make. Once we'd left service, gone over the podium, the rain had actually stopped, but everything was soaking. We were 70th car on the road, so mud from cuts gets pulled out, the road is wet, and certainly in the first stage, the road was soaking wet. Not a lot of grip, but the times would suggest that we had way more grip than anybody else because we're right up the order. We didn't feel like we gave it a massive push. It was more just, let's make sure we get through in the wet. We hadn't put the car off, we hadn't had any issues, we hadn't had any half spins or anything like that. After the loop of 3 stages, which were then drying, so stage 3 was actually half dry, we got through that loop and felt I could have gone faster there.
Cool, so we've done the first loop, just had the first service, waiting to go out for second loops of stages. Really tricky start to the day, Scott.
Yeah, just a little bit. We're super wet and slippy in the first stage, but we had the right tyres on and we could push, use all the available grip and all the available road. So, you know, it went well, the times reflect that, and yeah, now we've just got to keep pushing. We've switched to a dry tyre now. Apparently no more rain, but still lots of mud out on the stages, no doubt. So we just got to, you know, keep it clean and keep the pace where it's at, really.
Exactly, mate. Looking forward to the second loop. The pace is hot, so keep pushing on. In a bit.
Second loop, when we got to stage 1, it was fully dry. Obviously the last time we'd seen that stage, it was completely wet, and in the space of 2 hours with the sun coming up and the wind picking up, it was completely dry. The muddy cuts were dusty cuts at that point. pace just seemed to get quicker through that second loop. Obviously from going from wet to dry it picks up, but it picked up way more than I thought it was going to. Quigleys in the Fiesta Rally2 who were leading the FIRC at that point, and I think they were third overall in the overall standings as well, so they're going really, really well. Had an accident on a really fast section of stage in the second stage of the loop. As we came up to the accident, the spectators were slowing us down rightly so I got right off the throttle, expecting to see the road completely blocked, but then once we rounded the corner, saw that firstly that they were both out of the car and were okay. The car was across the road, but there was a 106 size gap down the side of it, so went round them and got back on it. So after that loop of stages, straight away we want to go onto the mediums, put the hot softs that were on the front, we put them on the back, put mediums on the front. So out for the third loop of stages, got to the start of the first stage, which had been stopped. This is when Bill really earned his keep, because we had to then use an alternative road book to go from the first stage of the loop to the second stage. We did that without any issues, got to the second stage of the loop, which had also been cancelled because somebody was in a ditch. Then back into the road book, additional bit thrown in, like, now you need to go to the third stage, so test that bit of road book out. And yeah, absolutely no dramas there. Like, I think Bill was worried about it, but no mistakes at all, and yeah, got to the third stage ready to go in.
Yeah, they definitely tested me with all of the alternative routes. Had Waze in one hand, the road book in the other, just trying to make sure that we took all the right junctions. You know, if we're on the normal road book and the normal route, that's fine. We've done it a few times before, but this was completely new, never driven those routes before. As someone that identifies as a driver, it was a bit of a test for me to try and figure that out on the fly, hoping that we didn't make any mistakes, but fortunately managed to get there okay.
Just waiting to go into the third stage of the third loop. We had a couple of stages cancelled. There was electric cables on the road, and I think a couple of accidents, people blocking the road, so had a bit of alternate road sections, and now waiting to go into the third stage of this loop. All good from you, mate?
Yeah, all good. We're pushing on. We're sitting nicely in the standings, so just keep doing what we're doing.
Keep it there, mate. Keep it there.
Send it. Full send.
The third stage, we're obviously on the mediums that have got no temperature in them. It's the shortest stage of the loop. Came off the line, not much grip at all really. The car spanned the wheels quite a long time, which it doesn't normally do. It tends to hook up quite quickly. Got to the first corner, nice drift through the first corner because the rears have got no heat in them, and sort of continued through the stage, still attacking relatively strong, but the medium tyre probably didn't come on until within half a kilometre of the end of the stage. The battle was hotting up a little bit at the top of the FIRC. Recce was leading, and we were just a handful of seconds behind. The last loop of stages were the three that we've been doing all day, and then they had tagged on a second run of the first stage of the loop, which was the long one, as like an extended final loop with no service in between. Thinking we might be able to topple the Rally 2 car in this loop of stages. Everything was faster. Everything was 105% push. No backing off to consolidate a finish. None of that. The eyes was firmly set on, like, the car in front is a Rally 2 car and we need to take time out of it. Let's go out on the last two stages. Let's see if we can find any more time in there. And we did. The thought of, well, I'm going to try and pitch my 106 up against a works built piece of equipment being driven well is like, you know, this is like what dreams are made out of for a kid with a 106, really. On the last stage, mechanical sympathy went out of the window, like completely out of the window, and we just 110% push. It felt just mega, like awesome feeling in the car, and like coming over the finish line, it's like that's as fast as it's gonna go. It ain't going any faster.
Yeah.
We hadn't managed to make that deficit that we needed. We ended up 6.9 seconds behind Richard Weatherly, and we'd lost 5.0 in notional times. So, end of the day, 1.9 seconds on every stage that we were competing on. Yeah, we can be pretty happy with that.
It was just a mega day. Like, we were flat out, like full send, it felt, from the start of the day to the end of the day, and actually like sort of turning that dial up a little bit. The full send dial was like at 11 easy by the end, you know, like, so it was just an absolute honour to be in the car, going flat out, carrying that speed through there was a lot of fun, and yeah, hats off to you, mate. top fucking drive.
End of the day, out of Parc Ferme, we ended up 9th overall, 1 place above Paul Letard. We were 2nd overall in the FIRC, taking 2-wheel drive honours, and we convincingly won our class. Getting to the finish of any event, you just feel like a superstar. It's like an absolute rock star moment. You pull into the podium and all the spectators are there, and you know, all friends and family that are there with us. That's what you do it for. It's not only the driving, but that sort of feeling of success and smiles on everybody's face when you come across the finish line. It's something else, really. Mega weekend with mega people, absolutely killer result. Best result so far in Belgium, top 10. It's quite an achievement, certainly with the amount of kit that's out there nowadays. The next thing is to just look forward for our next few weeks. So obviously we're sat in my garage in the UK. Bill has brought the Subaru in preparation for Ep.6 Rally. My car's already in bits. We're just going through and spanner checking and sort of replacing worn items before we go to Wervik in 2 weeks' time and lift the stamp and send it again.